Hey everybody, welcome to another World of Tanks replay, and this one is in my Leopard. Now I don't play this thing very often, I really should play it more, but, you know, stuff happens and I just usually end up playing my Object 430 instead. But I do like the tank. It has been kind of relegated to second best at its job, well actually third best now. The STB is a bit better at doing Leopard things than the Leopard is, and can generally survive doing them a bit better, and the AMX-30 is the new hotness, of course. But the Leopard's still a pretty solid tank. It might not have any armor at all, but has good mobility and a fantastic gun. Despite the risks of going hill with a completely unarmored tank, I am quick enough to get up there in a hurry, and so I decide to push up. Thankfully for me, the enemy mediums do not follow. Had their bat chat pushed up here, or their STA or their E50 or really anything, it would have been trouble, but thankfully they did not. They decided to stay on the back slope of the hill approach and give control of the most important position on this entire map to our team. Looks like the STA-1 is going to hide behind the bunker. Not a surprise, he is statistically the worst player on the enemy team, and so that's the exact kind of play I would expect from him in a medium tank. People say that, oh, you know, you shouldn't call people out because of XVM, or you shouldn't do this, that, or the other. Look, if people are going to play according to their really bad statistics, honestly, like, come on. If I see people trying, even if they have bad stats, I'll be quite happy to congratulate them and thank them for putting the effort in, but if people are just going to hide in base behind a bunker in a medium tank, really, that's a position for a tank destroyer, if that. And he's just not having any effect from there. I mean, he really lights me as I shoot him, but he hasn't been able to hit me, he hasn't really done anything to get me away from the top of the hill. All he's doing is feeding me easy damage. Now, I was actually surprised I hadn't been shot at by the Arty yet. To come up here in a Leopard when there's a T92 on the enemy team is to tempt fate quite severely. But I will happily take advantage of his distractedness while I can. I get a quick shot on the side of the E100's turret, and of course from above at this angle there's no chance of that bouncing. The T92 went for the Bulldog behind me, so I know I'm safe for at least another 40 seconds or a minute or so. I'm not sure how long the T92's reload is, but I know it's long enough that I've got time to work up here. I get another shot into the STA before deciding to come out the other angle. The E50 does actually spot me and get a shot into my gun, but it doesn't actually do any damage, and I'm able to put a shot of my own into the T57 before coming back to finish off the STA-1. So now, unless the enemy run underneath the hill and proxy spot me, I should be pretty safe here. I see an opportunity on this pattern. I roll out of cover to take it. Well, not cover, concealment perhaps. But also over the edge of the hill, which is really my only cover. Working a rock, I pop around to finish off the T28 Proto as he exposes himself broadside. And I'm thinking about diving down on this E50 here when I see the Ferdinand. He looks like he's about to come around the top of that rock outcrop into my line of fire, and so I get ready for it. Sure enough, there he is, and I'm able to put a shot through its front. I'm proxy lit by the E50, but I can finish off the Ferdinand before he gets away. I pull back and reconsider my options. I'm thinking about diving on the E50 and then doubling back for the ISU. Oh. Well then. I did say it was a risk coming up here in a Leopard, certainly against the T92, and that shell actually looks like it directly hit me because it didn't even splash RE75, who was right behind me at the time. At that kind of range, from where the T-92 was shooting, its gun might be inaccurate, but it doesn't really matter. It's probably still going to hit. You're only working across like a 300, 400 meter range there, so it is a very, very short shell for a T-92, not T-95. Of course, when they add the American T-92 light tank, things are going to get even more confusing, and I cannot wait until they do. By the way, that thing will be stick. T-92 next wipes out our IS-8. He's actually doing some really good work for his team here. It's just a shame that the enemy tanks let him down. RE-100 comes up to clean up the ISU. Surprise! And now it's just the E5 left as the T-92 gets wiped out by RE-75. Pretty decent game. Normally I'd be pretty pissed off about getting one shot, but if I get one shot after I've already done that much damage, I really don't care. Like, you can one-shot me all you want after I've already carried the game, just please don't do it while I'm trying to work. But that T-92 did do some really good stuff for his team. The mediums, honestly, are the ones that I would lay the blame with there. While the heavies were a bit disorganized, it was the mediums' failure to even contest the hill which cost them that game. You have to contest the hill. Even if you don't come up it, you have to hit things as they go up it. You have to force them to sit in cover. You can't let them continually poke out from the hilltop, spot into your base, and start picking off your support across the ridge lines and the shrubbery in the base. Because that's usually where all your big guns are sitting, your high power tank destroyers, some of your heavy tanks maybe, and your arty. If a medium tank pops out here with good view range, he can see everything in there, and if the arty isn't behind these buildings, or if the TDs aren't way up behind the rocks here, they're going to get lit and they're going to get killed, particularly if there's arty support for whatever's spotting. You cannot give critical positions to the enemy and expect to win the game. I don't know how many times I've said this, but it's still just as true now as it was every other time. If you don't even contest a critical position, you've basically asked the enemy to run roughshod over your team. You're giving them the win on a silver platter. You have to contest things. You have to make life difficult for people. This wasn't difficult for me. I was just happily driving back and forth between 2 or 3 different bushes on the hilltop, shooting people. That's the very definition of easy. You know, I wasn't even really paying attention. I just kind of go around, blow up one tank, blow up another tank. If you're not making the enemy actually stop and think about what he's doing, if you're not making him struggle to work out if he can afford to push a certain tank or if he can afford to run away, he's going to have plenty of mental power left to figure out which one of your tanks he wants to delete now. You have to overwhelm him. You have to, even if you're not actually taking control of a map position, you have to contest it. You have to force them to be thinking constantly about their escape routes, about when they want to leave, about what they can afford to deal versus what they can afford to take. And the enemy team was doing none of that to those of us on the hill. Really, the only thing that made my life a bit stressful was the fact that there was a T-92 on the enemy team, and he wasn't shooting at me until I'd already done all my damage, so don't care. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, and as ever, I'll see you on the next one.